The year was 2005, and I was sitting with my father at a local coffee shop at my very first political forum. There was an exciting buzz in the air as people were chatting, and the smell of coffee was overwhelming. I vividly remember I was sitting there reading my favorite Dr. Seuss book, Green Eggs and Ham. And as I sat there reading, I became captivated by these tall men in nice suits coming up to speak. Little did I know, as a 6-year-old, I was honoring my civic responsibility in a way 88% of Americans do not, by attending a political meeting. You see, this is the crisis our system of government is in, as we become a society where civic engagement and civic participation is not valued. This lack of participation leads to a diminishing value in the title of citizen. As Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis described citizenship, the only title in our democracy superior to that of the president is the title of citizen. This bold statement may seem like an exaggeration to some, but to me, I feel it hits it right on the nose. You see, the title of United States citizen is not one to be held lightly. With all the rights and responsibilities that come with citizenship, it should be valued to the highest standard. Unfortunately, in 21st century America, the title of citizen is slowly losing value as more and more people underappreciate the rights that come with citizenship. This also leads to a massive lack of appreciation for the amendment that grants the title of a United States citizen, the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment was ratified in 1868 under President Andrew Johnson in an attempt to grant citizenship to African American males during the Reconstruction period. This amendment reads, in the first section, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. This clause is known as the Citizenship Clause, and it essentially grants citizenship to any person born on American soil. And this was monumental, as before the amendment was passed, one had to be a citizen of a state in order to be a citizen of the country. This clause altered the lives of millions of former slaves and immigrants, and it continues to have a lasting impact by creating the diverse population that we celebrate. This amendment also later reads in the first section, no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. This clause is known as the State's Due Process Clause, and it is one of the most important and widely used clauses in the entire Constitution. This clause is vital to our democracy, as it protects the citizens from unfair prosecution by the states. This clause has recently been brought to the forefront of our political agenda, as it has been the subject of numerous political discussions and debates over legislation such as the Patriot Act in places like Guantanamo Bay. This clause has a major impact on our nation's past and present, as it affects every other amendment in the United States Constitution. These two clauses, the Citizenship Clause and the State's Due Process Clause, work together to give the gift of citizenship and to protect the many rights that come with it. This gives the citizens several benefits, and these benefits create a social contract between the United States system of government and the citizens themselves. This social contract states that the citizens will submit to the authority of a sovereign nation in order to live in a civil society. What this essentially means is that to retain the rights of citizens, the citizens will accept the restriction of certain liberties and assume the responsibility of certain duties. This social contract is not a newly conceived idea, however, as it has been present for thousands of years, dating back to the Roman Empire. This social contract gives us several valuable rights, but it also gives us a tremendous amount of responsibility. The social contract gives us obligations, which include paying taxes, obeying the law, defending the Constitution, and most importantly, political participation. Political participation, the essential ingredient to a fully functioning government. Now, many citizens think of political participation as merely voting. However, voting is only one component. As President Obama once observed, the role of a citizen in our democracy does not end with your vote. This is true, as there are numerous ways for citizens to remain engaged in our government other than elections. Whether it's signing a petition or attending a political rally, the list of alternatives is seemingly endless. And it is important that citizens engage in these activities so they may maintain the status of an informed voter. Unfortunately, American citizens are not upholding their end of the deal, as each and every year, millions of American citizens do not participate in elections. In fact, according to the United States Election Project, only a measly 57.9% of eligible voters actually cast their vote in the most recent election. Think about that. Only 57.9% of eligible voters actually voted. That means 90 million people did not exercise their right to vote. To put that in perspective, that is more than 30 times the amount of people living in the U.S. at the time of the Constitution's creation. 90 million people, just like you and me, did not exercise their right to vote. A right that was fought for and paid for by millions of veterans. If we think about the issue of political participation, it is truly sad. We, as American citizens, are consistently bringing in lower voter turnout than countries in the Middle East like Iraq. This is remarkable, considering citizens in these countries are going to the polls knowing they risk being attacked. It's truly amazing to think that these countries have reached voter turnout as high as 70% amidst threats of violence and terrorism on Election Day. This information casts a dark shadow on America, where we make voting extremely convenient for citizens. With absentee voting, same-day voter registration, and pay time off to vote, it has never been easier or more convenient to vote in American history. The issue of political participation should be non-existent if citizens would simply honor their civic responsibility. We must remember that voting is not just a right, but also a privilege. As political strategist Christine Pelosi describes it, voting is a civic sacrament, the most important responsibility we hold as Americans. This is no overstatement, as our nation and our government's very success is dependent on each and every citizen's vote expressed through their voice. Now, I don't have that copy of Green Eggs and Ham that I was reading anymore, but the impact of my first political forum remains. Thanks to this event, I was inspired throughout my childhood to participate in my government. It is of the utmost importance that we not only participate ourselves, but that we encourage others to participate. It is critical now, more than ever, ladies and gentlemen, that we work to resolve the issue of political participation as it continues to grow and to have a negative impact on several aspects of our government. This government that we have is a fine-tuned machine, but it can only work efficiently if we, as American citizens, fulfill our obligation to the United States of America by casting our vote. If we, as American citizens, rally together and spread awareness on the importance of voting and political participation, we can truly make a difference and create a better future for America. President Franklin Roosevelt summed it up best when he said, "Nobody will ever reprieve the American people of their vote except the American people themselves." And the only way they could do that is by choosing not to vote. Each November, you and I each have a decision to make: to vote or not to vote. I challenge you, come Election Day, to remember to honor your civic responsibility granted by the 14th Amendment. I challenge you not only to participate yourself, but to encourage others to do the same. Because in order for this democracy to work, we must be a nation of participants, not of observers. Thank you.